Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. So good to be here right now. Feels so good. Feels really, really good. I'm back home. I feel settled. I feel rested. I'm really happy to connect with you guys. Hi, Pipa. Welcome to your first live. Good to see you guys. How are you all doing as we end the first month of 2022? Kate of Light, about to get a huge snowstorm. Well, that's fun. Hi, Michaela. Hi, Deanna. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Charlie. Good morning, Nancy. Hanging in there. Looking vibrant, Lori. Happy to be here in this movie. Hi, Karen. Hi, Bright. Feeling grounded, feeling good, feeling hope in Canada. Yeah, go Canada. Jeez Louise, man. It came out of nowhere, the truckers. I mean, a 2-hour convoy, imagine. So if you guys aren't aware of what's going on in Canada, it's unbelievable. There's a convoy of truckers standing up for their rights and not having to have mandated vaccines to work. And I heard it's like a 2-hour convoy. So imagine standing on the road and trucks going by, probably 20, 25, 30, 35 miles per hour, but it's a 2-hour convoy. Unbelievable. And it's inspiring, I think, a lot of people, inspiring a lot of people all over the world that they actually do have a choice. We actually have a choice, and we have a right to our bodies, and we have a right to what we put in our bodies. So yeah, pretty amazing. If you haven't seen the videos, go look on YouTube, go look on Instagram, go look on Facebook. And again, I'm sure this is happening all over the world, but Canada has really gone through the ringer. So it's really beautiful to see this inspiring action, Yeah. Oh, it's mandates for the entire country, not just their industry. Oh, that's even more amazing. That's amazing because Canada, I think, is one of the countries. There's a handful. Many countries. I shouldn't say handful. There's many countries that have really been pushed up against a wall and been forced into these mandates. And so it's beautiful to see. I think they've raised, I'm not kidding, in a couple of weeks, they've raised over almost $7 million. $7 million they've raised. 80,000 people have donated. So it's pretty incredible to watch humanity come together. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. Anywho, welcome to our last live Patreon event for January. It is a Q&A. I love the Q&As. It's so, there's always so many beautiful questions that come in. Yeah, what does the number 7 mean? Before we begin with the Q&A, first of all, if you want to ask a question, okay, they're down below, or I don't know what it looks like on the phone, but down below on your laptop or your iPad, it should say ask a question. Just click that and a box will pop up, and just enter your question in. And I do my best to answer as many as I can for as long as I can until I'm tired, and then we stop. So that's the first thing. All right. So some I always want to call it homework, but it's what's the word I'm looking for? Housekeeping. February's schedule is out. We have another 6 live events this month. Our special guest this month, I'm so excited to introduce you to her. It's Rebecca, but she's known as Cartsy B. She is an energy reader, and she will be coming on, I believe it's the 17th of this month. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes through for her, and maybe bringing a couple of you on and getting a quick 5-minute reading from her. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have our March special event, special guest event is going to be a medium. So I have a medium coming on that's going to talk to spirits. So again, they will bring a couple of you up on stage or on the screen and connect to some spirits that are around you. So I'm excited. I'm enjoying bringing new people in and allowing ourselves to experience different things. You know. Yeah, Cartsy B is amazing. All right, so the mini session is coming up on Wednesday, February 3rd. No, it's Wednesday, February 2nd at 3 p.m. Pacific. I believe the post to register for it will be out today or tomorrow. So for all of you that are new to the community, the way that you kind of raise your hand for a mini session is that once the post is up and out on the Patreon page, all you have to do is enter your name in the comment section, just your name. And one day before the live event, so Tuesday, February 1st, I will be picking 3 names at random, and I will email you on Tuesday if your name was chosen. Okay. And the post will be updated, letting everybody know that the 3 names were chosen. All right. So that's how you submit your name for the mini session, the 30-minute session. Okay. Special guest, we did that. Q&A, we did that. February schedule's out. I think we're good. I think we are, I think we're good. Is the comment section the box with the questions? No, there is the post is on the Patreon page, the main Patreon page, okay, where you see all the events, the upcoming event, and then all the replay events where you register. That's where you want to go, not here. You don't enter it here in Crowdcast, okay? You enter it in the comment section in the Patreon, on the Patreon post. Okay, the post is where you register for the event. The post is where you click the link to register. The post is where the replays are, right? So you don't do it here on Crowdcast. Okay. All right, let's get going. Lots of questions, and let's see what information wants to come through for us. I did pick a card, an energy card for us, which I will read a little bit later on. Okay. All right. Let's go. Also, if you guys go into the ask a question section, if you have the ability to, you can vote for a question to be pushed up to the top, although I do go all the way down. And I answer a lot of the questions that didn't get voted up to the top. All right, let's see what we want to do today. Natasha. Hi, Lori. It's said in the Netherlands, 1 of 3 women get dementia. I don't know how that is worldwide. Do you or your guides know why this is happening? What purpose could it have for the soul losing one's identity and connection with the body? Looking at my mother's suffering, I really wonder what purpose this could have. Also, can practicing staying in the now, being aware as much as possible, prevent dementia from happening? Love hearing from you. Update, mom passed away 17th. I'm so sorry for your loss. It's interesting around dementia. So it's a very physical symptom that occurs. It's natural, and it's just based on the aging process. And you can imagine that the brain just starts to get tired. I'm sure there are medical reasons that a medical doctor could come in and say, these are the medical reasons why people get dementia. From a higher perspective and a very simple perspective, the body ages, the organs age. and it occurs naturally. And one of the things that will naturally start to occur on the planet in the physical body with the physical body is that it will slowly stop aging as the human begins to hold more light in their body, as they begin to become more multidimensional. The human will start to choose different ways of eating. The human will start to choose different experiences in their life and who they are around, reducing stress and anxiety. The human will start to choose different ways of moving the body. So we will start to notice a split in the way humans begin to experience aging, and it's a slow split. So the more of us right now that are continuing to consciously evolve and shift into higher frequencies in our body, we will begin to watch ourselves slow down the aging process. And what that's going to do for the entire human collective is it's going to show the human collective that the aging process does slow down, that these things that we see occurring like dementia doesn't need to happen, right? So, but it's, I want you to imagine it as like a split, two worlds sort of splitting apart. So it's very slow what we are going to watch. Humans slowly slowing down this aging process. And many of us, you and I right now, we will be the guinea pigs, kind of watching how this works. So it is simultaneously very natural, and also at the same time, the human has to be conscious of this, right? They have to be conscious of what is occurring. They have to be conscious of what their body is asking of them, changing their diet, letting go of relationships, letting go of jobs that create stress and anxiety, right? Staying more present, meditating, etc., being in nature. These are things that you have to be conscious of. Otherwise, your evolutionary process will be very, very slow, like molasses, like a snail moving. The more conscious you are of your evolution, the faster you will progress into these higher states, slowing down the aging process. The body is, the more the light is anchored into the body, i.e., the more that you move into higher states of consciousness, the body is naturally going to stop aging. It's just what happens. So I hope that helps in some way. Lucinda. Dear Lori, not a question, but a quick message to show my deepest appreciation and respect for all your hard work. I'm in Reset 2022, and this course is literally mind-blowing. You've put in so much work, plus all those videos on YouTube, Instagram, and Patreon. You're consistently bringing truth into this world, no matter the crazy time. We see you, we love you, we thank you. And please take the rest you need. Thank you so much, Lucinda. I appreciate that comment. Yeah, Reset 2022 was pretty mind-blowing, in my opinion. For those of you that haven't done it, you get a discount if you're in Patreon. I also have a lot of discount codes if you can't afford it, to make it affordable for anyone. So reach out to me if you want to partake in it. It's pretty powerful. Sabine, Lori, it's a trivial question, but I have always been wondering why there are so many beings in physical and female bodies in your community and other similar ones. Where are the beautiful beings in male bodies? Are they just hanging out and letting us do the work? Is there an answer to this? Good question. I answered this a couple weeks ago, or I can't remember when I answered this, but I remember it coming up a while ago as well. And it's interesting. It has it has a lot to do with the programming of the masculine and the feminine. So fortunately or unfortunately, if you are born into a male body, there is deeper programming that happens sometimes. I wouldn't say deeper, there is different programming. That's a better word. There is different programming for males. So males are much more conditioned to hide their emotions. They're much more conditioned to pretend they have it all put together, to be in control, to be the one that is taking care of everyone. They are conditioned and programmed to not express, to stuff down, right? How and the if you are incarnated into a female body, you are allowed, it's acceptable to be more emotional. It's acceptable to feel more. It's acceptable to ask for help. It's acceptable to be taken care of, right? And so what we're watching right now is more of the feminine consciousness rising up on the planet. And so there is a balance between the masculine and feminine within the physical body and on the physical planet. For thousands of years, the masculine frequency has been the dominant frequency. Okay. And so it's been challenging for males to feel safe, to begin to express, to feel safe, to be vulnerable, to feel safe to be who they actually are. You know, they came into the body and they were suppressed. Don't cry, don't do this, you're a sissy, don't, you have to fight. You know, how many men do you know got into physical fights? How many women got into physical fights, right? So it's deep programming. And the world has sort of catered to more of the masculine energy, um, um, being acceptable, right? Whereas we are designed to be able to hold or balance both the masculine and the feminine. So many males are beginning to learn how to start to awaken within them the feminine consciousness. And many women are beginning and learning how to awaken the masculine consciousness. Because when you move into higher states of consciousness, you are designed to balance both a masculine consciousness and a feminine consciousness. It's a beautiful gift to be able to anchor and be both. And that is how the human is designed to be. We're designed to be able to hold both. So when you start moving into spiritual communities, it's a little daunting, I think, at first for men because they are programmed to not be expressive and to not feel emotion and to not be vulnerable and to not ask for help, et cetera, right? And so it's always a gift. I always try to pull men onto the screen on super chats and mini sessions because it's always a gift to see the masculine and to honor the masculine, um, in these communities, you know, and to let them be seen and to let them be heard, to let them be vulnerable so that they can experience being held, so they can experience being honored. Because the women do that all the time. It's very easy for us. It's much more difficult for males. And if you've ever noticed males coming on screen during super chats or mini sessions, it's a very different energy, right? They literally have to learn how to be vulnerable. They have to learn how to allow themselves to just feel and to just express and to know that it's okay. So there will be more and more males stepping into more of that feminine consciousness and learning how to balance it. We got a handful of them here. We got a lot of them here. Gwen, hi Lori, I've been on plasma therapy for almost 2 months now. Oh, great. A lot has changed since I've been off social media. My eating habits has also changed. One thing I've noticed recently that's been happening a lot is my ability to remember stuff. I wake up not knowing what day it is. I do that all the time. And once I even had a hard time visualizing my own bathroom. It seems like the memory is fading somewhat. Why is this happening? Happens to me all the time. I legit wake up and I don't know where I am. I'm like, where am I? What is it? What am I doing? Am I human? What day is it today? What room am I in? Did I travel somewhere? Um, it's disorienting. And here's what is happening to our memory, which is fabulous. I love it. I love my memory kind of going wacky. So when you start moving into higher states of consciousness, which is what you're doing, Gwen, which is what many of us are doing, you start to naturally become more present. So you're naturally probably not even aware of the fact that you're not living in a past as often. You're not going back to a past. You're not thinking about what happened a week ago. You're not thinking about what happened 2 months ago. You're also not thinking about the future as often. These things that happen are like little tiny baby steps. So it's like your hair growing, right? You don't really realize how you are evolving until you start to realize things like, oh my God, my memory's going. Okay. So you're slowly starting to become more present. It's very natural. You're not trying to. That's the greatest gift of evolution, is that you don't have to try anything. I've always said this. You don't effort evolution. You don't effort into higher states of consciousness. You just allow yourself to be in the space that you're in, and you watch and you participate and you say yes to it. So what's happening right now is we are naturally becoming more present. And when you start to become more present, you can't grab anything. You're like, wait a second, what happened yesterday? Did I do this? Did I not do this? You know, you start to wonder what happened during the day. What did I do? Even though you did all kinds of things, you're literally losing the need for a memory. We don't need memory when we start evolving. You don't need a memory. Now, memory is beautiful, okay? Because from a third dimensional perspective, it gives you the memories of how your life was, you know, that book. You can turn to page 27 and say, I remember when I was 16, these things happened. But eventually we will not need the memory in the same way. It doesn't really make sense when you start moving into higher states of consciousness. It just doesn't. And so you're going to start to notice that you can't grab things anymore. The memory is grabbing a past. It's grabbing the past and anchoring it into the present in order to keep you safe in some way, in order for you to kind of feel like you are in this world. So just know that losing memory, you're not losing it. The memory is just no longer needed. And you're going to start to see it happen over and over and over. And I freaking love it, even though it is very freaky. It's very freaky because you're like, you literally can't grab. You're like, there are days where I'm like, wait a second, like, was I here? What happened? You know, or yeah, it's hard to explain, but it's the natural process. It's the natural process of evolution. I love it. Get ready, put your seatbelt on. It's fabulous. Okay. Hi, Esther. Is the matrix or the game stretched out throughout the 12th dimension? And what is surpassing the 12th? Okay. So in a nutshell, because this is a complex question, or actually, I should say a complex answer. Let me see if I can sum this up in a nutshell. That's a really weird statement. Sum it up in a nutshell. Okay, that's weird. We live in a matrix and a game, okay? And this game is set up for the earth and to evolve or ascend from a third dimensional, well, essentially in the beginning, it was a fifth dimensional field to a seventh dimensional field. And then if Earth chose, she would continue on into anything up to a 12th dimensional field, okay? She is held in a 12th dimensional grid. This entire game, everything that you see, every planet, every universe, every galaxy, every constellation, everything that could possibly be imagined, okay, in this reality is held in a 12th dimensional grid. Beyond the 12th dimensional grid is everything else that has ever existed in the quantum field. So there could be multiple dimensional consciousnesses and beings and collectives, and there's so much beyond. I want you to imagine that this is just a little bubble. This is going to be a little bit challenging to hold, but imagine that the 12th dimensional grid, which is holding everything that you ever thought, knew, believed, could experience, all universes, galaxies, everything is held in this little bubble in a 12th dimensional field or 12th dimensional grid. And there is an infinite amount of experiences beyond that 12th dimensional grid. This is just one little experience, but it holds so much. And so because Earth is inside this 12th dimensional grid as a physical form with a consciousness within her, right? She's a consciousness inside a physical form that we called planet Earth. she has the ability to expand into higher dimensional fields within that physical form. However, when you move past a seventh dimensional form, you become much more light. So there's no physical form. So it really doesn't make sense for Earth to continue to the ninth, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th dimensional field. That really isn't her intention or why she created this game that we're in, this matrix. But she has that ability. But here's the thing about it, the quantum field, when you step out of the 12th dimensional grid that's holding Earth and her entire experiment together, you can be anything at any time, right? So the entire purpose of this experiment that we're all in right now is for Earth to move from one state, one dimensional field to another dimensional field that's still in physicality. Are you guys with me? So it really is designed in order for her to just move in dimensions that are still physical, which is the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Everything beyond the seventh is much more light. It's not as fun. It doesn't have as much dimensionality or physicality. Okay. And so who knows what will arise once she and humanity move into that seventh dimensional field. But anything's possible. Humans don't quite understand really what dimensional fields mean and how you exist in them. And so there's a belief that when you are in an eighth or a ninth or a 10th dimensional field, you're still physical. And that's energetically not possible, just based on physics and how energy moves, how energy spends, right? So it just doesn't make sense for her. Maybe she will, but it doesn't make any sense, right? So I have a video on YouTube that I put out a couple years ago on the 12th dimensional grid. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend watching it because it explains everything. And it's in my book that's coming out this year. What is this 12th dimensional grid? Why was it created, and what does it do? What's its purpose? I hope that made sense. It's pretty complex. It's also very simple, and it's also something that you know. Like what I'm sharing with you is nothing new. This is everything that you know. It's just that we forgot. We forgot how this works. Okay. Yeah, it's a great video. The 12th dimensional grid is it's a great video. Hi, Morgan. So I'm still new to and navigating all this incoming knowledge, information, remembering, etc. There's so much out there, but I have noticed there are a lot of the spiritual pages and people that are talking of this new earth, 5D consciousness, and a big event, the great solar flash. They've been talking about this for years. So I'm just curious if this is something that you feel or have experienced in your spiritual journey, and if you received any guidance or any information. Thanks for that question. It's a great question, Morgan. I never buy into any event coming because I don't believe in big events coming. I have been on this spiritual path since I was 13 years old, and there are always talk of big events, all of these dates that are thrown out, all of these things that are going to happen. And typically they never really happen. Okay, because the human is misconstruing the information. So, are there solar flares that are occurring which create a massive amount of light that floods onto the planet? Yes. Are there specific dates where this happens? Yes. Does the human interpret that as a large event that's going to perhaps catapult humanity into some sort of new experience? Sure. I want you to imagine that the humans can sometimes take this information and create a movie out of it, okay? And make it much larger than it actually is. So my recommendation is to start to conceptualize, Morgan, or understand that every human that is receiving information, it's being filtered through their own physical reality. Okay. And it becomes much more dramatic than is actually going to be experienced on the planet. All right. So you want to take everything with a grain of salt and you don't want to attach or have an expectation around anything. Um, there's nothing wrong with what people are saying around big events and solar flares and blah, blah, all of these things. But I've never been one to really buy into it because what I've always known is that there are always big events happening that we are aware of and not aware of. And they all revolve around light from the sun because it is high frequency light from the sun that is providing us and allowing us to move into higher states of consciousness because that high frequency light is literally moving into our bodies. And it is providing us not only with light to live, the prana to live, but it's providing us with the light to shift. So I would take everything with a grain of salt. There is no massive freaking solar flare thing that's going to come in. I mean, they said that about last year, right? I mean, how many people last year were like, oh my God, there's a big event on 12/20 something, and it's going to be a massive solar flare. We have to prepare. And no, nothing happened except for a massive amount of light that infiltrated the planet, which is happening all the time, all the time. So yeah, that's my answer. And just let it all go. Just focus on your present moment, focus on humanity, focus on your life, on your family and your friends, focus on what's coming up for you, focus on how you can be a better human and open your heart more. You know, all of these things that are in the external that these people talk about, they're distractions, in my opinion. They're just distractions. And this isn't a negative thing, but most humans can't even feel these events when they occur. So we might as well just let it all go. Let it all just be. Otherwise, you get caught up in the external world, expecting something, hoping for something, can't wait for something. And then maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't, you know? Arita. Hi, Arita. Dear Lori, the tension between me and my partner is growing enormously. I know it is not about him, but the way he talks to me and treats me is not anymore something I want to tolerate. If I stand up and say enough is enough and try to keep my boundaries, he gets crazy and we go into verbal fights. I'm confused if this is for me to learn to keep boundaries or a pattern where I need to learn not to react and go inward instead to feel what it does with me. Okay, so this is a complex question. So my first question is, we have to be very careful when we say it's not about them. Okay? So the better way to kind of frame it is this is about you making a choice. This is all a choice. Okay? You are choosing to be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't treat you right now. I would simply start with that. Because sometimes what we do in relationships, because we are afraid to let go of them if it's time, if they have run their course. I'm not saying that's what's happening with you, but many times this is one of the things we do. We tell ourselves that there are lessons that we need to learn from the relationship, which keeps us in the relationship. And really, that is a defense mechanism because we are afraid to leave the relationship. Again, I'm not saying that you're doing this, but many times we do this. My biggest question to you or to anyone that is in a relationship where someone isn't treating you right is, why are you in a relationship with someone that isn't treating you right? And I know that we have a lot of answers for that. And I know that this is a complex situation. I understand that relationships are complex, they are layered. I get it. Anything that is occurring right now in your life that is asking you to examine it, to take a look at it, and to question it is because most likely it is no longer resonating for your highest potential. It is no longer reflecting your highest potential. So I do not see this as you learning boundaries. I do not see this as you learning how to react and not react and go inward. For me personally, if somebody isn't treating me right, and I have continued to speak to them about it and it hasn't changed, I would begin to examine the beliefs that I hold around myself that are creating me to choose that, i.e., to stay. Many times we will convince ourselves to stay because we are growing or this or that. And it's true, you can grow in relationships, absolutely. But you can also continue to heal yourself for the rest of your life, where you can start to choose to live. You can start to choose to live. You can start to choose to step out of something that perhaps doesn't serve you any longer. Continuing to put up boundaries with someone that doesn't treat you right and nothing's changing is a cyclical pattern. It's a cyclical abusive pattern. So you really want to ask yourself, why am I choosing this? Really get very, very clear. Because of course it's not about him. It's about you. And it's about the choice you're making. What do you really want? That's the other question you want to ask. What do you really want? And if you want this man to start treating you right and he's just not doing it, you have to accept the reality. You said, I'm standing up for myself. I'm putting up boundaries. I'm telling him enough is enough. And he goes crazy. That's showing me that he doesn't want to grow with you. Otherwise, a partner would say, wow, I didn't realize this. I didn't recognize this. Please keep telling me this so that I can change. I don't want to treat you this way. That is a partner that wants to grow with you. But it feels like you are continuing to put yourself in the fire range, where you're getting shot, pretending that it has everything to do with you learning something. And really, that's a defense mechanism because there's a deep, deep fear of letting go. If your partner isn't growing with you, isn't choosing to say, I see you, I hear it, I will work on this, and vice versa, then you really need to ask why you're choosing it and have a heck of a lot of patience and compassion for yourself. A lot of patience and compassion, because it's not easy being in relationships that are somewhat tumultuous right now. Okay. Haley, you talked in a live with Phil about not praying for others and the role of sovereignty in that. What's your take on energy healing? As a Reiki healer, I act with highest intent and from my higher self to the client's higher self. I think at its core, I'm just holding space for the client to allow the healing that's already available. Would love to hear your thoughts. Absolutely. I think that energy healing and Reiki are beautiful tools and techniques for people. I think that everything is energy and everything in the body is energy. It's stored energy, which creates emotions and beliefs and behaviors and trauma and patterns, right? cyclical patterns. So I think that energy healing is fabulous. And I think that um, it's needed and it's necessary, 1,000%. I think eventually there will be a moment where we start to understand how we can do that for ourselves as well. But it's a beautiful gift, and it's necessary for sure. Um, e, Iwa, Iwa. Sorry if I butchered your name. Can we all astral travel, and what's the best way to start? Yes, you astral travel in your dream state. So astral traveling is what you do in the dream state, and bilocation is what you do in the waking state. I do have a masterclass that I did. I think it's like $19 on my website, and it teaches you how to bilocate. I don't teach astral traveling. I teach bilocation, which is basically what we do in our in many of my guided meditations. So it's just learning how to be in two different places at the exact same time, in two different dimensional fields at the exact same time. And if you've done many of my meditations, you've been bilocating. And the more that you do it, the easier it is. But yes, we all have the ability to bilocate. And again, astral traveling is sort of what you do in the dream state when you are quote unquote asleep. Remote viewing is very different. Remote viewing is basically you kind of projecting yourself into an area and using like what are those things called, binoculars to see. So it's a little bit different. I think remote viewing is more difficult than bilocation. Bilocation is literally so your physical body is sitting in a third dimensional field, and your etheric body or your light body moves out of the physical form and moves into a higher dimensional field and relocates to another place, whether it's another place in the third dimension or in a higher dimensional field, right? And then you're in that place as well. So you're in two places at the same time. Remote viewing is sort of like you're lifting yourself out of the body and you're starting to project the binoculars into other areas to see, right? So it's similar, but it's a little bit more difficult from my experience. Hope that helped. Okay. Christine. Hi, Lori. I've been dealing with old trauma coming up, but this past week, it feels like all my trauma is coming at me at once, and I'm not sure why. Is the universe telling me to deal with all my trauma at once and for all, that it needs to be cleared now? I took Reset 2022 and I'm clearing as fast as I can, but feel overwhelmed. Okay. So there is no pressure that you want to feel in terms of clearing anything. So when trauma comes up, you want to take the pressure off of yourself that there's anything you need to do. Okay. So I want you to imagine that as trauma appears, just be with it. And recognize that there's nothing you need to do. Because in that state is when trauma is released. And so what that means is, like, let's say that you're sitting around at your house and all of a sudden some sort of trauma comes up around abandonment. And you have all this anxiety all of a sudden, right? You don't know where it's coming from. And you feel like you need to reach out to your friends and family because you believe that all of a sudden people are going to leave you, right? Or you're feeling really insecure. You just want to be with that. Many times we think, which creates the anxiety of, I need to do something with this trauma. We think we have to do something with it, that we need to figure it out and move it out of our bodies. If a lot of trauma is coming up for you, it's a really beautiful sign, because it means that you're capable of feeling it all right now. It really means that you're holding higher states of consciousness. You're holding a lot of light. You're capable of feeling a lot right now. So it also means that you're deeply grounded, you're safe, you're anchored into the body, you're anchored into earth. And so your higher self is just throwing these little trauma bombs of like, okay, feel this, feel this, feel this, feel this, feel this, feel this. Let's hurry up. This year, you guys, it's all about acceleration. It really is. And so you don't want to put pressure on yourself that you have to do anything with it, because that's literally going to stop or put a barricade in the flow of what you're in. If you literally just look at what's coming up and you just experience it as a feeling, as an emotion, as whatever it is, and that's it, you don't attach to it, you don't put an expectation on it in terms of what you have to do, you will move through that trauma much easier. So remember that you are feeling it and you are observing it. That's it. If you attach to it like you have to do something, then you all of a sudden are identifying with the trauma. And you're not the trauma, and there is nothing you need to do with the trauma. You want to observe it. You want to just see it and understand it, and you want to feel it. You want to just let it be explored as it comes up, and that's it. Your hands are in the air. And yeah, it's overwhelming. So break down. Big deal. Yeah, it's overwhelming. You've got to lay down for the next 12 hours. Yeah, it's overwhelming. All of a sudden, you want to gorge some sort of pizza. That's okay. Just be present with what's showing up. Devour it, meaning just feel it. Don't try to do anything. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to figure it out. It will all be revealed to you as these bombs are continuing to drop for you from your higher self. Okay? It's a beautiful sign that you are really accelerating right now. If that's happening to you, then you're doing it. Lori, when we begin to converse with our higher self, what does that look and sound like? Is there a chance we're just communicating with our ego versus our higher self? Okay, so I've spoken about this a lot. I break it down in Reset 2022. I've done a couple videos on YouTube, and I think I've even done a video here, the difference between ego and higher self. So when you start communicating with your higher self, okay, there are a couple of different ways. I've also done a masterclass, Lori, and I think it's like $19 on my website. Highly recommended. It's Connecting with Your Higher Self. I did it last year. I think it's 4 hours. It's very, very powerful. I would highly recommend getting it because it not only does it break down the higher self, but I believe there are 2 guided meditations in the masterclass that guide you into experiencing your higher self. Because really the best way to understand higher self is to feel higher self. But here's what you want to understand, okay? The higher self is going to sound like a voice in your head in the beginning. It's going to feel softer, though, quieter. The higher self does not live in a dualistic state, meaning something is right or something is wrong. The higher self will not say something is good or something is bad. The higher self will not say you should or you shouldn't. The higher self is literally just going to be statements of guidance. It's time to do this. Go and do this. Call this individual. Rest. Go outside. Go have a green juice. Get off the phone with this individual. Don't go on that plane. Book a trip. That's the higher self. The ego will say, you can't do that. You don't know how to do that. That's stupid. You're not going to be able to. No one's going to listen to you. Why would you do that? That's lazy. You've been resting for too long. You need to get up. The higher self is a critiquer. It will critique you. It's like a really mean teacher. That is the higher self, and it is loud. So you've got to start to dissect the voices in your head. That's the only way into and through to your higher self. You start being the scientist and you start dissecting what you're hearing. Okay? You start dissecting what you're hearing. So you want to listen when you ask questions or when you ask for guidance. You want to start to listen to what you're hearing. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? The other way that the higher self speaks to you is through intuition. It's the tool that higher self uses. This feels right. I feel like I should go do this. The other thing about higher self is never going to give you a playbook of how it's going to unravel. It's going to be unknown with the higher self. The ego is going to say, wait a second, I need steps. I need to know exactly how it's going to unravel. I need to know what it's going to look like. And the higher self doesn't do that. They don't play in that. They don't play in the future. The higher self only plays in this now. So you have to get used to that. You have to get used to what that feels like and how you navigate that and how you trust it. And the only way you start trusting higher self is that you start following higher self. So again, really starting to listen to the voices in your head. That's the best and easiest way. And also go get that masterclass if you can afford it. I think it's $19. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. I hope that helps. And if you took Reset 2022, I don't think you did, Lori, but if you took Reset 2022, there are documents, PDFs of how to decipher between the ego and higher self. Rachel. Hi, Lori. I am currently experiencing deep financial lack, and all of my financial traumas are coming to the surface. I have 4 children and large financial commitments, and I'm reconsidering what is your question. Your question stopped, Rachel. Oh, your question ended. I don't know what your question is. Come back, ask it again. Allie. Hi, Lori. I really appreciated your way of validating Danny on the super chat and explained so well what was happening because it had just happened to you. And I'm so grateful for Danny because it was happening to me. Does this mean we are able to experience a quantum leap in our lives, especially a sign that ascension is coming, like it's the dark night of the soul phase, or like pulling back on the bow and the quantum leap is the release of the arrow? You can actually write a lot more. I think it just cut off for her because there's a you can actually write a lot in the question box. But I'll try to find where her question is. Allie, so what's the question? So grateful for Danny because it happened to me. Does this mean we are able to experience a quantum leap in our lives? Yes, you can experience quantum healing instantaneously if you choose. If you choose. Here's the thing about kind of quantum healing or quantum leaping. What that means is that you move from one state of being to a really different state of being almost instantaneously, i.e. overnight. So it's miraculous when it happens, but it's always a choice. So every single one of us has the ability in any now moment to quantum leap, to move from one version of ourselves to a very different version of ourselves, literally overnight. We have that ability. The problem is that we don't trust it or believe it. Okay, that's the first thing. The second problem is that there is a lag. Okay, so meaning that there is residual energy in the body, consciousness, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, stuff like that, that still need to be cleared out, even though you made that quantum leap. Does this make sense? So you made the quantum leap. So let's say that you had an addiction to, drinking coffee or being in an abusive relationship, and you were like, I am finally done. And you literally, legit, overnight are completely done. You don't even have the beliefs around it. You don't even have the feeling of being in the relationship or doing that addictive behavior. Like, it is gone. You feel like a completely different person. That's a quantum leap. However, as you start moving in through your days, even though that quantum leap happened, because we are in linearity, there is a lag. So the consciousnesses that were in your body creating the beliefs, the emotions, the patterns, the behaviors that kept you in that abusive relationship or that kept you in that addiction, it's going to take linear time to move out of you, even though the quantum leap happened. So you have to trust that the leap already is. You already are this new version. And you have to choose to not go back or to not fall back into the old beliefs and behaviors and patterns when they start to come up within you as they are clearing. Does this make sense? Because what happens to humans is that they have that quantum shift. You're like, oh my God, I am a new freaking person. I'm a new person. I don't know how this happened. Right, Gabrielle? I don't know how this happened, but I'm like legit a different person. And then what happens is we start moving throughout the days, and you start to feel that old version come up. And you're like, what the freak is this? I thought I was done. I thought I had cleared it. I thought I had this massive miracle. You did. You absolutely did, but you are in a third dimensional linear reality where there is time and there is a lag. And so the consciousness still has to move out of you, even though you feel like a brand new person. So you have to constantly choose that new version. That's why the other day, do you guys remember when I was telling you about the battle that I was having inside? A couple of you reached out and you said, yeah, but I thought you're supposed to surrender to everything and allow everything to move through you. Yes, but when you have quantum leaps, quantum miraculous healings, and you know that you are now a new version, and that old version is creeping up on an energetic level as consciousness within you in order to be released, you have to choose. You literally have to fight for your new quantum beingness. You got to fight for it. You got to say, I'm choosing this. I'm choosing this. This is the trick, or this is the part that is unfortunate around this dimensional field that we're in, is that we still have lags. We still have linearity. We still have time. But many of us are starting to feel these quantum leaps, these miraculous quantum healings. So don't buy in to the belief that because it creeps up, you're all of a sudden screwed. And now you got to go and do all this healing again, and you got to go back to square one. No, it is the old version of you, which is consciousness in your physical form, that is coming up and rising up in order to just be seen and felt. And you got to choose. You got to have that inner battle of, oh, hell no. For instance, you're in an abusive relationship and overnight you are done. Sayonara, sweet cakes. I'm out of here. And you know it. And then what happens a couple days later, a week later? That version of you that's codependent, that needs that love, that needs that attention, that needs to feel like they're not alone, is going to creep up. And that new version has to say, hell no. Absolutely not. I am choosing this new version of me. I'm choosing this new version of me. So a lot of times we have this belief that these quantum leaps, these miraculous quantum leaps, mean that I will no longer experience that old version. And that just isn't true. Now, there are many people that have had quantum healings and it's completely gone. Okay. And there are many people that have these quantum healings, and then the remnants of that old version come up, and that's okay. It's called the third dimension. It's called time. It's called linearity. What do you want? What are you choosing? What are you fighting for? Right? Very, very powerful. Great question. Let the quantum leaps happen. Let the quantum leaps happen. Hi, Lori. I hear spiritual teachers say, this is Sherry. I hear spiritual teachers say things like, our existence on earth is not real. We are just playing a role in a game. We are in a hologram. Everything is an illusion, etc. I can't seem to get my mind around this concept because everything feels so real, and I feel like I have a mission to complete while I'm here, not just playing a game. Will you please help me understand? I love this question. The dichotomy of being a human and a consciousness at the exact same time. Okay. So all of it is true. But here's what people mean. Here's what spiritual teachers mean when they say that everything is an illusion. Okay. So from one perspective, Sherry, everything is actually just energy. It's true. Everything is energy that has moved into a lower frequency in order to become a form. Great. I agree. There is an energy within you that you can call a soul or a spirit, okay, a consciousness, and it's not physical, and it's inside a physical form. Sure, 1000%. You're navigating a world that is actually energetic. However, it is physical in nature. So a tree is physical, but it's energy. A human is physical, but it's energy. A mountain is energy, is physical, but it's energy. A rock is physical, but it's energy. A building is physical, but it's energy. Everything that you experience is physicality, but it is energy. And so when people say it's all an illusion, what they're really saying is like it's not actually physical, it's actually energy. But it is physical. I'm physical. I'm in a physical world. I'm experiencing physical stuff. So you can't deny that. It is a bypass if you literally try to live your life as if everything is just an illusion. It's impossible. You're denying your physical existence. You're denying physical reality, which, by the way, is why you came in. You know, a lot of people that try to bypass the fact that everything's spiritual and everything's physical, and I'm just going to live in this world where everything is an illusion, and uh, you know, uh, it's all, none of it's real, and blah blah. That's not real. That's not why you incarnated. You incarnated to be in physicality. You incarnated to devour physicality. You incarnated to experience the touching of humans and the touching of animals and all of that. That's why you're here. So what you're learning right now, Sherry, is that it is a quantum field. It's a multidimensional quantum field that you're in. It is both physical and energetic. It's all of it. But we do not want to deny the physicality. You also don't want to deny that it's all energy. Do you understand? You're just balancing, you're juggling all of it. And many people want to just focus on the fact that this is just a game. It's just an illusion. You got to just step out of it. None of it matters. And it's like, pretty sure all of it matters. On one lens, it all freaking matters. That convoy of trucks, that matters. That's physical. That matters. That's real. But you also want to understand that you are playing a game. It's called the third dimensional matrix, and it's full of ways of navigating it. So you are learning how to juggle different perspectives. You're learning how to hold different ways of viewing the world at the exact same time. It's not black or white. It's not physical or energy, right? It's all of it. And so throughout your day, can you hold that? Can you start holding your multidimensionality, which is this is both a game and a very real experience. This is both a matrix that I'm trying to remember and a programmed state of being that I'm in. I'm here to do some purpose work, and I'm here to shift humanity and assist, and it's all an illusion because it is actually not even physical. But I do not deny the massively intense physical reality of this world. I honor it. I honor the physicality of what we're in. I honor the chaos and the spectrums of experiences and consciousness that we can have. It's a disservice if you don't honor that. Yeah, you don't want to deny physicality, you guys. You don't want to deny what's here. You don't want to, because it's real. You're physical. Hate to break it to you. but you're not physical. So your body's physical, you're actually energy. And you are in a game. And you're learning how to play the game, but it's also a very, very real. It's very intense, and it's intense. Holly, can you please give some exploration techniques that we can do to discover our multidimensionality during meditation? Sure. I mean, some very basic things that you guys can start to do. First of all, what does Holly mean when she says multidimensionality? Well, basically, it's experiencing yourself outside of just physical form, right? So starting to explore yourself more as an energetic being, starting to explore the energetic world around you, right? Not just allowing your thoughts to move, allowing your breath to be felt, but really going deeper into more dimensional experiences. So, one of the ways that you can do that is that you can ask for your body, okay, to first of all, ground yourself. Please, if you're going to do these things, ground yourself. Create a massive, intense, powerful grounding cord from your root chakra straight down into the earth. So you're just intending that my root chakra is open and there is a big, huge grounding cord holding me onto the earth. Okay, that's very, very important. You don't want to leave your body in any of these meditations where you are floating out of it. Then you're not experiencing multidimensionality. Everything is experienced inside the body. So the thing that you can start to do is ask for the energy within your body to increase. I'm asking for the energy within my body to increase. I'm asking for the energy within my body to increase. And just let yourself feel, stay with the breath. Stay with your breath. Do not leave your body. Just because you get super high and you're like floating out of your body, that is the last thing you want to do. You've got to stay in your body to experience all of this. But start asking for your body to increase in frequency, increase in frequency, increase in frequency, and just be in that for a moment. Just be in that space. Let your body show you what it can do. Let your body show you who you are. Let your body just start vibrating. Okay? Just let your body start to vibrate. Let your fingers start to tingle, your toes start to tingle. Let yourself start to increase in frequency. And just start there. Stay deeply grounded. Another way that you can start to play around with multidimensionality during meditation is that you can ask for energies to move into the space with you. Okay? You can start to ask for energies that are of the highest light, energies that are for your highest good to come in and to start to play with you, to start to interact with your energy. You want to open up your awareness to the quantum field. I want to start experiencing more of the quantum field. But first and foremost, raise the frequency in your body. It's a lot easier, but please stay grounded. Please stay grounded. All right. There's a lot that I could recommend, but I'm very careful what I'm recommending because it's baby steps. It's baby steps. So just practice those two techniques. Actually make sure you're grounded, and then raising the frequency in your body, just allowing your body to show you. Get used to high frequency energy in your body, and then invite in energies to kind of play with you, to start interacting. Maybe you'll see things, okay? Maybe you'll feel things. You want to start to play as an energetic human. You want to start to play as an energetic human. Cassandra. So January has been so intense with shift after shift for me. Ditto, Cassandra. Me too. I got sick last Sunday, and over the last week, I feel as though I'm in a movie and I got amnesia. I have no idea who I am, what I'm supposed to be doing, what I like. I feel completely different. At times, I even look different. It's like I don't remember myself from a week ago or even a day ago or an hour ago. I don't know how to act with people, my partner, even my kids. I've had massive panic attacks because I think I'm going crazy. Okay. Okay, so let me just tap in, Cassandra, for specific messages for you around this, because I don't think you're alone. I think there's probably a lot of people that are experiencing this. We are accelerating at rates that we don't realize. And I'm getting a lot of energy coming in, almost dizziness when I'm tapping into your energy. Okay, tapping into your energy field. Um, I want to say that it's almost as if the your higher self picked you up and put you into a completely different physical body in a completely different world. Like you're literally walking around and you can't understand your world. You can't understand how you did your life before. It's very disorienting. Um, you don't remember how to be the mom or the daughter or the wife or any of that. Yeah, they're showing me. It's like it's like they went like this and dropped you in. Um, how do I explain this to you? There is a higher version of you that dropped into the body. And there is an integration process that's happening that is very frightening, that can be very scary feeling because you're disoriented. But I want you to know that you're safe, okay? That you're okay, that you're safe, and that you will slowly begin to integrate back into the human experience. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not going crazy, and this isn't going to last. But there is a much higher version of you that dropped into your physical body. And it didn't happen without your permission, but your ego personality aspect wasn't aware of it. Your higher self was aware of it. And it was necessary for whatever that you are here to do on the planet. There's a lot of like nauseousness I'm feeling, lightheadedness I'm feeling, dizziness that I'm feeling right now. So I would highly recommend not trying to keep it all together. I don't know if you're talking to your partner about what you're experiencing, but I highly recommend being extremely upfront with your partner. I'm also getting that there is a lot of rest, a lot of what is your body needing? What does your body need right now? If there is ever a time for self-care, it's right now. If you try to pretend, Cassandra, that everything's okay and that you've got this and that you're going to fight through this, it's going to prolong the integration process. I want you to imagine that somebody just tried to put a light into a new, what's the good analogy? It's like God, I can't think of the analogy, but all I'm seeing is like a new light was just moved into your physical body and it needs time to settle in. Okay? It needs time to settle in. So the more gentle you can be with yourself, the better. The more silent you can be with yourself, the better. The more you can find time to just be with you alone, the better. Grounding out in nature, grounding with trees, massively powerful. Because a tree understands what you're experiencing. They can ground you and anchor you faster than anything else. Literally, if you go sit and like literally sit next to a tree and then just grab that tree and say, "Please teach me how to anchor," because I'm legit losing my mind going crazy. It'll anchor you. It'll absolutely anchor you. And you'll feel like you can rest, like you can let go, like you can surrender, you can drop your shoulders. But I do want to remind you that this doesn't last and you're not going crazy. And there are probably other people in this community that have experienced what you're going through. So maybe if you're feeling resonant and you're in the Mighty Networks, maybe if you feel like it, reach out and see if anybody has had a similar experience and what they did to go through it. It looks like Morgan experienced it. Looks like Taz experienced it. Sophia's going through it right now. Cindy. So you're not alone. I have never experienced this, so I don't know what it feels like. But your guide showed me what it's like. So be gentle with yourself. Gabrielle has experienced it. Toby's experienced it. So reach out to the Mighty Networks forum if you want some assistance, okay? There's a bigger reason for this happening. You're not going crazy. And the panic attacks are because you forgot what's going on. But hopefully this message and this community can remind you that you're good. You're going to be good. You're just a very different person in a very beautiful way. And can you start to embrace that? Can you embrace it? No, genetics do not rule your health. Not at all. Roseanne, my question is, how do you integrate and heal unworthiness? A core consciousness that permeates my entire life, showing up in so many layers and shades as 50 Shades of Grey. I know this is a broad issue, so let's start from a relationship that triggers the feelings often. Thank you so much, dear Lori. Okay. Unworthiness. Whoo, is that a big one for so many of us? I have been navigating that as well. And so I will just share how I navigate or how I unravel, peel back unworthiness. I pay attention, Roseanne, to the moment it appears, the moment that I see myself believing that I am unworthy, whether it is how I respond or react in a situation, whether it is what I am accepting in that moment with someone, whether it is how I am responding to something or someone. Okay. The moment you recognize that unworthiness is something that you have dealt with your whole life, which we call a core consciousness, which we speak about in Reset 2022, that is the greatest gift because now you are aware. Now you are aware of that deep, deep anchor that has played out your whole life and has created so many experiences for you to experience unworthiness. And now all you're doing is beginning to choose to no longer believe it. It's a daily choice. It's as simple as that. I'm telling you, it's that simple. We underestimate the power of choice. The moment you see yourself believing unworthiness, the moment you hear unworthiness in your mind, the moment that you behave with unworthiness is the moment that you get to choose to not. You get to say to yourself, wait a second, I actually deserve to be loved for all of who I am. Is this person providing that for me? No. Why am I still here? Why am I trying to still convince somebody that I'm worthy? You have to start asking yourself questions. You have to start, it's like you're the observer sitting next to you, the one that believes they're unworthy, and you're having a dialogue. You have to be the scientist, sort of exploring the why behind it while you simultaneously continue to choose to no longer follow it or believe it. I don't feel worthy of being able to have, to call this person or to text this person or to reach out to this person. They're not going to want to hear from me. Unworthiness, core consciousness. Do I feel worthy of reaching out to somebody? Do I feel worthy of being heard by someone? Do I feel worthy of taking up time and taking up space? Do I feel worthy of receiving? Let me try it out. Let me practice. There is no other way other than to say, yes, I'm gonna start feeling worthy by choosing new ways of being. Speaking differently is huge. I started speaking differently to people in my life. Holding firmer boundaries, huge in unworthiness. No longer settling, massive for unworthiness. Because if you believe you're unworthy, you have settled for a lot of BS in your life. You settled for less than. So you stop settling, you start demanding, you start feeling worthy. Right? That's how you do it. I hope that helps. Ashley. Hi, Lori. I'm new to this journey. Welcome, Ashley, and the journey of evolving and awakening and the WTF of what are we doing here? I'm wondering what your thoughts are on plant medicine. I have never done plant medicine, and so I don't have personal experience with plant medicine. I know that what I have been shown around plant medicine, the guidance that I've been given is that plant medicine is a opportunity to explore within you what you naturally have the ability to explore, but perhaps you don't know how. And so plant medicine will sort of quickly move you right into the trauma, or quickly move you right into the quantum field, quickly move you right into source consciousness, right? It's like a cheat sheet, so to speak, right? Or um, it's a what's it called, where you don't have to go the long route. It's a shortcut. But here's the thing with plant medicine that I do deeply believe: it's not designed for you to use as a tool all the time. I don't believe that. I don't believe people that use plant medicine over and over again are. It's great. That's fabulous, but it's a crutch, because you are designed to be able to feel everything that you feel on plant medicine, not on plant medicine. Because if you're feeling it on plant medicine, it means that it's inside of you to feel. Whether it's accessing these higher dimensional realms and all of this magic, or whether it's accessing deep trauma, it's all inside of you. You are literally simply accessing what is already in you. The plant medicine is just bringing you to it quicker. It's not providing something extra for you. Plant medicine isn't providing something extra. It's not like, if I don't have plant medicine, I can't experience this. No. Plant medicine is just pointing you to what's inside of you and what you have access to naturally. We are naturally designed to feel everything that you feel in plant medicine. I think that there is this what happens to humans is that they think that plant medicine is how they do it. It's what gives them that ability. And again, plant medicine is amazing because it is a fast track to trauma. It's a fast track to healing. It's a fast track to the quantum field. But at some point, you have to go in yourself. You have to access all of that on your own, That's what I believe. But I think it's fabulous to show you who you are, to show you what you naturally have the ability to do and to feel and to see. I definitely wouldn't put it on a pedestal at all. I wouldn't put anything on a pedestal. I wouldn't put any teacher. I wouldn't put any teaching. I wouldn't put any book, nothing, because everything is inside of you. You have access to all of it inside of you. All of it. Ann Bird. Hi, Lori. I'm in a bit of a quandary. I'm doing a year-long course with a lovely spiritual person. She is a tough cookie. I'm struggling. I'm not sure if I resonate anymore. And I'm trying to understand if it's me that is the issue, i.e., not doing the work or not trusting in my knowingness that some things that are said don't feel right. This person shares the same messages as you, but is very tough in their delivery. Not like you, which is so gentle and understanding. Good question. It's a really good question. Okay, so it's interesting because when you are working with somebody, when you are going deep within your own self and exploring, they will trigger you. And that trigger is a beautiful gift, allowing you to see within you what is still needing to be experienced as trauma or limiting beliefs or whatever, right? However, there is also the experience of this just isn't resonating anymore. And how do you know the difference between those two? Because they feel very similar. Am I running away from my triggers? And is this actually good for me? Or do I literally no longer resonate? And I think the deeper question is when you are saying to me that things don't feel right anymore, that's an indication that it's your resonance. Things don't feel right. Okay, that's resonance. When things don't feel right, it's not you pushing somebody away and running. It's not you being defensive and saying, I don't like her, she's bugging me, she's bothering me, right? It's a feeling you have. That's resonance. And that's what you want to listen to. And resonance, like I have said so many times, it doesn't have a reason. There is no logic to resonance. It will not make sense. You won't be able to say to her, hey, listen, I'm no longer resonating because ... It won't be there. You simply are not resonating anymore. And people will want answers. There isn't an answer for resonance. That's how you know it's resonance. There's no answer. It just is. So you want to get clear on, is this me pulling away because I'm being triggered and I'm angry, I'm pushing them aside, they're annoying me, they're frustrating me, they're bugging me, I've had enough. That's resistance. That's triggers. You can still walk away. You have every right, right? But resonance is, it doesn't feel right. Very different frequency. Feel into the difference between that. Just doesn't feel right anymore. There's no resistance. There's no triggers. There's no anger. There's no resentment. There's no pushing aside or pushing back. It just doesn't feel right. And I want to say something else for just me personally. Stepping into any container right now that is longer than a couple of weeks can be very misleading because you are shifting so fast right now. You are shifting very, very quickly, and not everyone is going to shift with you. So what feels right now may not feel right in a month. It may not feel right in 2 weeks. Look at Cassandra, right? Look at a lot of what you guys are going through right now. Things are shifting like that. Something resonates one day and it's completely not resonating the next. So be careful with commitments right now, long-term commitments with people. Your life is going to be very different. You're going to start living life very differently. And commitments is one of the things that you're going to notice is going to change. I've lived this way for quite some time, but many humans are going to start to live this way, where it's just impossible to commit to certain things because you legit don't know what you're going to feel like in a month or in 2 months. And to assume that you can step into a 1-year container with another individual and be able to hold similar frequencies throughout that year is probably slim to none, because most likely you both aren't going to hold the same frequency. And so there's going to be a dissonance. Not always, but I'm just saying that to bring awareness to how this works, how evolution works, and to not pretend. You don't have to pretend that something still resonates just because the world around you tells you that you committed to something, and so you have to stay with it. That's a deep program. And you will feel restricted, you will feel tight, and you will absolutely unequivocally resent the other person without a doubt. If you deny your resonance, you will resent them. You will blame it on them. So you've got to let go of the programming, the deep, deep programming around commitment. Because I'm telling you this year, many of you are going to experience this. And it's not going to make sense. It's not going to make sense. Levi, I noticed that you are doing 6 lives on the shortest month of the year and your birthday month, right after you were talking about wanting to rest. Are you super efficient rester and already recharged, or are you denying yourself what you need? I actually am a super efficient recharger. So I have learned how to, or it's not even learned, I listen to what my body needs and I follow it. So if my body says go home and rest, I will go home and rest. And for 2 straight days, I will sleep for 12 hours. I don't judge myself. I don't critique myself. I do everything that my body asks. I drink all the green juices that it needed me to drink, right? I rest, I sleep, I do very little. And 2 days later, I'm completely recharged. So like today is what, Friday? Yesterday, I was super recharged. Today, I'm super recharged. I'm ready to go. So I've learned how to show up, and I'm continuing to learn or remember how to show up and also take care of myself. And there are many, many times, as you guys have seen, where I am exhausted and I look like I literally, am a zombie. You look really tired today, Lori, right? That's okay. That's okay. I juggle it all, and I learn how to do it all. I learned how to, I've learned, but I do recharge very quickly. So long as I listen to myself and I never judge. I never judge. Don't ever judge myself. Don't ever judge yourself. Andrea, when you travel, do you ever have fear or anxiety before you go? How will I know if this is just my ego trying to protect me, or is it my higher self warning me? My main fear is getting stuck in a different country or being put in isolation or quarantine while I'm there. If I decide not to go travel, I know it's because of fear. If COVID or restrictions or testing did not exist, I would not have any fear at all. It's the only factor that could potentially stop me. Listen, those are legit fears, but they're fears. I haven't traveled internationally since last year when I think I went to Mexico. And do I have a fear around international travel? It depends on where I'm going. I'm definitely acutely aware of the fact that at any time I could test positive and be stuck somewhere. On a deeper level, if I am being called to travel somewhere, I trust that I'll be okay. I also trust that if I test positive somewhere and I'm stuck somewhere, that is what it is. One of the things that we're learning, you guys, in this new world that we're in, is that we have to remember that we're safe no matter what. Part of the fear, Andrea, is that you don't feel safe. That you don't feel safe if you're stuck somewhere, that you don't feel safe if you stand in quarantine somewhere. We are living in a world that is very different, and it will never go back. It will never go back to the restrictive, pseudo-safe, pseudo-free, pseudo-choice world that we lived in. And so we're starting to recognize that the world out there is a bit more chaotic than we understood, which is a gift, because what that is allowing you is to understand that you are always safe and free no matter what happens. This is so pertinent that we start practicing, that we trust that whatever unravels for us, whatever happens to us, we are safe to go through it. So if I get stuck in some country when I'm traveling, There will be a deep, deep knowingness that it was for my highest good and that I'm safe to go through it. Bring it on. It is the fear of what may happen that stops us from living life. It stops us from living life. And that fear, Andrea, is a fear of you not being safe. It's that simple. That you're not safe in the world. It's unconscious. So you also want to trust that if you have a lot of fear and anxiety, don't go, because there may be a reason that you are having that fear and anxiety. It's not black or white. This is very gray. This world is very gray. The way we are learning how to be in this world is very gray. So if I had a lot of fear and anxiety about going to, let's say, Portugal or Brazil or Costa Rica, if I had a lot of anxiety and fear, I wouldn't go, because I would trust that anxiety and fear is telling me not to go. Okay. However, if you have a pattern of feeling fear and anxiety, I don't have a pattern of feeling fear and anxiety in the world. Okay. I don't go to that. That's not what I usually go to. It doesn't pop up. So it would be very abnormal for me to feel it. And if I felt it, I knew that it would be a signpost of don't going. If you feel anxiety and fear a lot in your life, if you're afraid of a lot of things, okay, if you have anxiety around what's going on in the world, then it's very possible that that is a defense mechanism stopping you from doing what you're being asked to do. Okay. So you just want to be aware of what the fear, if fear and anxiety is something that you're always feeling, it's a go-to for you, because then it's not a sign from your higher self. It's a defense mechanism. And you don't want to be afraid in the world. You want to feel safe. Pipa, I've always wondered about manifestation. If things are already divine timing, then how can manifesting change what is already meant for us? Can we change our fate and what we desire? Okay, I'm going to start with that one first. So, okay. We have free will. There's something in my eye, you guys. I'm so sorry. This is going to be distracting. Oh, shoot. We have free will, which means that in any moment you can create whatever you want. There are also things that have already been divinely created, that you have divinely created. Maybe it's aspects of your purpose work. Maybe it is a divine partner that may come in, but may not be the exact. So here's what you have to understand about, this is complicated. Here's what you have to understand about divine timing, or things that you have already designed in your life prior to incarnating. For instance, your purpose work or a divine partner, okay? They can look very different. There could be 700 different divine partners that you can choose from. There could be 16 different ways that you could do your purpose work. Do you understand? I do not believe that there is one specific divine partner that is absolute and this is the one. And when she or he comes in, boom. I don't believe that. I believe that we live in a quantum field with free will. And so although there is a perhaps a divine partner or a purpose for you and purpose work, there are many different ways that it can manifest in front of you. Does that make sense? So I don't believe that it is one specific structured, boxed in thing. There's a candy store of ways in which it can present itself, but I absolutely believe in divine timing. I absolutely believe in divine creation or divine intention, things that have already been created for you, by you in this lifetime. I also believe that you have free will and you can create anything you want. And that's the problem with manifestation, is that people get looped into this egoic manifestation where they are constantly creating things in their life which are not for their highest good. It's not what the higher self is creating. It's what their ego is creating. So they get caught in this cyclical cycle of wanting more, manifesting more, manifesting more. And meanwhile, the higher self is trying to show them, hey, by the way, you actually created this over here, this job or this individual or this life, this house, but you're so caught up in the egoic attachment and need for this manifestation over and over and over again that you are forgetting. So what we have to do is let go of manifestation, because manifestation, a lot of manifestation is egoic. It's I need something from the external world in order to provide for me support, love, abundance, freedom, safety, etc. And all you're doing in manifestation, if that is what you are desiring, is that you are perpetuating this external need for something to complete you, for something to give you something. When you intend from a state of being that you have everything you need within you, which is not easy. Most of us are not there yet. So we will intend and manifest from an egoic state of mind, which is I need this in order to feel. I need this in order to be. I need this in order to ... You don't. When you realize that you already have it within you. And then when you intend, you are intending from higher self. The external world is now going to match you. It's now going to say, you're going to say to yourself, I don't need love. I have enough love within me. I'm good. But what a gift to have a partner. The higher self is going to say, bingo, here's your partner. And all of a sudden, that divine partner that you have been craving for so long that hasn't shown up is going to show up because you no longer need it. This idea of purpose work is going to make me feel fulfilled. It's going to make me feel like I have a purpose in this life. You need to feel that prior. Otherwise, you will continue to manifest things in the external world that are not of your highest good and are not your purpose work because you believe that it's going to fulfill you. Can you feel fulfilled right here, right now? And when you start feeling fulfilled right here, right now, higher self is going to say, here's what you created, boom. And all of a sudden, your purpose work is going to be gifted to you because it's now going to match you. Does this make sense? This is a little bit complex, a little bit a higher perspective, but it is absolutely the way we are designed to be. Manifestation is a misconstrued way of being. It keeps us caught up in this egoic, I need in order to feel this or be this or have this. The world is designed to match you so that you don't need anything from it, but that it provides you with everything that you want. That's the greatest gift of this world. And so everything that you are manifesting, okay, ask yourself, if it was taken away, would I still have inside of me what I thought that manifestation was going to give me? If the answer is yes, then it's going to come. If the answer is no, then that type of manifestation is going to be something that you are attached to that's going to create suffering and struggle as if you need it. So yes, there is a divine timing in everything, if and only if you are recognizing that you don't need anything from it, and then it shows up. That's the greatest trick around manifestation, is you don't need any of it. And the second you realize you don't need any of it because you have everything within you is the moment it's delivered to you. Anything other than that is perpetuating lack, is perpetuating I need this because of ... It's tricky. Can we also change our fate and what we desire? Yeah, you can always change everything you want. You have free will. All it is a match. So if you feel content, if you feel happy, if you feel joyful, if you feel free, if you feel love, you feel all these things, then go ahead. You can create anything you want in the world and it will be delivered to you. It's believing that you don't have it and that you need it from the external that's going to create these wobbly roads that you're going to walk down. Also, I've just qualified as a QHHT hypnotherapist. What are your thoughts on this? Congratulations. I love QHHT. I think it is fabulous. I think it is an amazing gift, an amazing tool. I had a most miraculous, powerful QHHT in 2014. It changed my life. Overnight, it changed my life in a lot of ways. So I think it's a beautiful thing. I love QHHT. Quantum healing hypnosis therapy. That's what it is. So I love that. Nancy, would urine therapy be beneficial if just applied to the skin and hair? Not quite ready to drink it yet. Yeah. Apply it to your skin, apply it to your hair. 1,000%. Absolutely. If you let it sit out, let it age, it's even more potent because it grows your own stem cells. So it grows your stem cells, which then you digest either orally or on your face, and the plasma knows how to heal you. Serena, hey Lori, thank you for everything. Please help with self-protection and others projecting towards me right now. Family members lashing out for things I have not caused and don't deserve. How do I choose love and continue serving as an empath and being myself? It makes no sense. I'm struggling badly with this. Okay. So it sounds like, Serena, family members are lashing out for things that you haven't done and you don't deserve. I think it's important to distinguish between choosing love and continuing to serve as an empath and being yourself, and allowing yourself to be beat up, allowing yourself to be used in a way that isn't healthy for you. So um, it sounds like you're being asked to hold firmer boundaries. It sounds like you're being asked to get angry. There's nothing wrong with getting angry. There's nothing wrong with expressing anger, frustration, irritability. Many times I think individuals that think they need to surrender to life, they need to accept, they need to love, they need to allow, all of that, it's actually hindering their evolution. Many times, if you are being presented with people that are taking advantage of you, that are not respecting you, that are not treating you well, it is an indication that you do not feel worthy of being treated well. You're not, it has nothing to do with love. It has to do with your self-respect, your self-love, and saying, enough is enough. I will not stand here anymore. You will not speak to me like this. Sayonara, I'm going to walk away now. Right? It's not about allowing, surrendering, loving. That comes after you become sovereign, which is this is not okay. This is not okay. I would never be around anybody that is disrespectful to me. I wouldn't. It will not happen, no matter who they are. It's not about me loving them. It's about me understanding what is okay to be experienced in my life, which has everything to do with my worthiness, my love for myself. It hurts when you speak to me that way. Please don't speak to me that way. If they continue, I will leave. I will walk away. If I live in a house where people are speaking to me not in nice ways, I will do everything I can to not be in the same space with them, and I will do everything I can to move out because I put myself first. Now, if I live in a household where I am married to somebody with children, different situation. Okay, I understand. And every situation is different. Every situation has layers. Every situation is complicated. I completely 1000% understand. But we will always find excuses. We will always find excuses. Nobody deserves to be treated poorly. Nobody. And one of the things that we are understanding in this massive evolution is that it's not always easy to evolve. It's not always easy to step out of very unhealthy relationships. It hurts. It's challenging. It's scary. But if you are being faced with relationships right now that are extremely unhealthy, there's a reason for it. Your higher self is literally asking you, are you sure you still want to be in this? Do you still believe that you have to be in this? Do you literally want to wake up every day and be in this? It's a choice. Welcome to sovereignty and not victimhood. Everything is a choice. What you are experiencing is absolutely unequivocally a choice, and humans don't like to hear that. What do you want to experience in your life? And if you don't like what you're experiencing, how can you change it? This life is too short. We are evolving too quickly to continue to stay in the same patterns that we have been in our entire lives. That is not why we are here. And for all you know, if you step out of this reality that you're in right now with your family and friends and whoever it is, so much more may open up for you. I'm going to say this one more time. Anything that you are going through right now that feels uncomfortable, crunchy, stressful, anxious is legitimately an invitation for change. My God, if it continues to come up all day long, every day, it's the loudest invitation that you could possibly have. And what a gift. Change, choose, be different, take the leap. Stop settling for what you have done your whole life because you are afraid to jump. You're afraid to be who you came here to be. You're afraid to receive what you deserve to receive. We literally argue for our limitations. We argue for our suffering. We argue for our struggles. It's time. You're here to go first. You're on the front lines of this evolution and of this shift. I'm not saying this is easy. It's not. But I'm absolutely saying right now that whatever you guys are going through, whatever you're going through, it's an opportunity to continue to shift and to choose. Doesn't mean you have to leave relationships. It doesn't mean you have to move out. None of that. It doesn't mean any of that, unless it does. But what it's asking you is this who you want to be? Having love for everyone and surrendering and accepting everything is a cop-out if you're being treated poorly. It's a cop-out. So look at everything right now as an invitation and an opportunity. Ginger, I've always been very emotional and could cry easily. I'm returning to that state, but don't really like crying in public situations. Example, teacher conferences. Maybe I actually feel powerless and that's why the tears flow. Is there a way to reclaim my power when I start crying? Or is that bypassing? Maybe I actually feel powerless. I would call that vulnerability instead of powerlessness. You're feeling vulnerable, which is power. When you start to allow yourself, Ginger, to be who you are, and you are vulnerable in your expression, there's a power to that. There's an empowerment to that. It's who you are. There can be a feeling of feeling powerless because you're not controlling you. You're not trying to control who you are in order to look a certain way. You're just being you. And the more you can just allow yourself to be you, the more empowered you're going to be. You won't be critiquing or judging or wondering what others are thinking. You're just going to be unapologetically all of who you are, authentically and vulnerably. And that's what it feels like you're doing right now. It's beautiful. Let's see. Charlie, here's my question for you. My boyfriend will be contracting into the Army this summer. I am aware that this is part of his own unique human experience. I'm curious if someone is not as spiritually connected or conscious, will that affect their physical ability to not be affected by the side effects of the shot? Okay. I am curious, if someone is not as spiritually connected or conscious, will that affect their physical ability? That's a really hard question, to not be affected by the side effects of the shot. It's a very, very difficult question because there are so many variables to the shot. Which shot did they get? Was it a placebo? Was it actually real? That's a huge question. Um, were they kind of contracted to be impacted by it or not? Meaning, from a higher perspective, did they come in to be impacted by it or not impacted by it? Because I believe everybody has chosen, prior to incarnating, a lot of what they experience. So it's a really hard question to ask. Um, and I don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. I don't think that you are going to be less impacted per se if you are more spiritually advanced. I don't believe that. Um, Again, it depends on your contracts as a human. It depends on what shot you got. It depends on if it was a placebo or not. There's a lot of variables. Your awareness and your spiritual awareness and the light that you're holding is a huge variable as well. Right? Absolutely. You have a lot more power to shift what goes into your body if you are aware of how energy works, 1000%. But that doesn't mean that you still can't be impacted by a shot, and vice versa, that an individual that doesn't have any awareness may not be impacted. You know? So, I think that, it just depends. I know a lot of people that got the shot and they're fine. I know people that got the shot and they weren't fine. So it really, there's too many variables to answer that. I wish I had the answer, but I don't. Okay, one more, and then I'm gonna go because I'm starting to get tired. Lamore, dear Lori, could you please give us a technique for changing beliefs? Lately, it has become easier for me to identify my limiting beliefs during certain situations in my life. That's massive. Just being able to identify limiting beliefs is huge. When it happens, I'm telling myself this is just an old belief. Perfect. And then I'm repeating what I'm choosing to believe. Perfect. Is this the right way? Is it enough to change old beliefs that have been with me for so long? Yes. That is a beautiful technique and a beautiful way of doing it. I would highly recommend trusting what feels right to you. There is no specific way of changing a limiting belief, but it is absolutely imperative that you recognize and observe the limiting belief. So, a very limiting belief that I hold and that comes up a lot is around my work, that I am not worthy of teaching, that I am not good. It hasn't come up for a while, but when it comes up, whoo, Nelly, it's a big one. This limiting belief legit convinces me that I'm not a good teacher, and maybe I should just close up shop. And I feel it deeply. And so what I do when this is just one example of a limiting belief, but what I do when that limiting belief comes up is I immediately recognize it as a limiting belief. I observe it. You have to detach from that limiting belief. You literally have to separate yourself from the limiting belief. Otherwise, I will legit believe that I am not a good teacher and that nobody's going to listen to me. And what am I even doing? Right? I'll believe that. That's how powerful limiting beliefs are. They literally make you believe that that is who you are. So you first and foremost have to recognize that it's not you. When these thoughts come through and tell you who you are, tell you what you do or don't do, or what you need or don't need, you have to recognize it. Okay? Once you recognize it, then you start to observe it as a limiting belief. Once you start recognizing it as a limiting belief with all these stories around it, right? Then you start to say to yourself, okay, what if it's not true? Just ask yourself, what if this isn't true? What if this limiting belief is actually not true? What if I am actually a great teacher? And then my limiting belief is going to come in and say, but you're not. Okay, but what if I am? And then what I typically do is I literally honor that limiting belief. I feel for that aspect of me that believes it. There's an aspect of me that doesn't feel worthy. There's an aspect of me that feels insecure. There's an aspect of me that judges my abilities. That's okay. I don't judge that aspect. I don't judge my limiting belief. If I were to have that limiting belief and all of a sudden get upset with myself and get mad at myself for having that limiting belief, you're literally perpetuating the limiting belief. Please don't get upset with yourself for having any limiting belief. Don't get upset with yourself. Just observe it. And in fact, have 1,000% more compassion for yourself. Please have more compassion for these limiting beliefs. That in and of itself is huge. And then know that the limiting belief passes. Know that the limiting belief passes. And start to tell yourself a new belief. What if it's not true? What if I am a good teacher? What if I just keep showing up? What if I just keep teaching no matter what? Right? So whatever this limiting belief is for you that it's telling you, you can't step out and do your purpose work, or you can't leave the relationship because you don't deserve, you're not going to find anybody else, you're going to be lonely. Is that true? That limiting belief, is that limiting belief true? Of course it's not true. Is there a different belief that you can start to hold? Maybe I am worthy of somebody new. Maybe I am worthy of showing up and speaking my truth. Maybe I am worthy of abundance. Start with maybe if you can't actually say, I am worthy of. And then you start to embrace that new belief. You start to invite that new belief into your world. That's the only way. You've got to open up the quantum field and say, what belief do I want to hold? Maybe I'm worthy. Maybe I'm good enough. Maybe I won't be lonely. Maybe I deserve to be seen and held. Whatever it is, I don't know. And then invite it in. Start to breathe into it. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? And then feel the difference between the new belief that's coming in and that old limiting belief that is so ingrained in you that just wants to pull you back. Okay? It's interesting because I always feel like limiting beliefs are so easy to understand and they're so easy to navigate, and they're not. They're really not. They're not at all. Okay. I think that's it, you guys. I believe that that is all. I am going to get going. Let me just answer Holly's question right now. One quick question, and then I'm going to go. So, Holly Colpitz. When I was a kid, I was very afraid of the dark, and I would always feel spirits around me. My fear was debilitating. It wasn't until a few years ago that I was able to move past my fears. My 13-year-old daughter is starting to feel these fears of spirits, and as she explains it, she is afraid of a very scary monster. She's having trouble sleeping by herself now and scared of her room. Do you have any ideas where these fears come from and how to move through them? So, when I was doing my online community for adolescents and children, this was a very popular theme. Kids were afraid of going to bed. They were afraid of sleeping. It's not a monster that she is experiencing. It is beings, it is spirits, it's energy in her room. Many, many young children feel a lot, can see a lot, can hear a lot. They can see spirits, they can see energies, they can see beings, and they don't understand it. And it would be like if you all of a sudden saw a being in your room, it would scare the crap out of you, right? You'd be afraid because you weren't really sure what it was and why is it in your room and why am I feeling it? And so they don't understand and they're afraid to close their eyes. They're afraid to go to bed. So the first and foremost, what I would recommend is to not use the lens of something scary, but instead start to describe what's happening. And the way that I would describe this to any child is there are energies that are around us all the time, and they are our guides. And because we can't see them, we don't understand them. And if I were to all of a sudden feel a guide or a being or an energy in my room, it would freak me out. It would scare me. So being afraid is very normal. Being afraid is very normal. But they're not, what you are feeling into is not here to scare you. Okay. The other thing that I would highly recommend is that teaching them sovereignty. This is what I did in the online community. They have control over their field. They have control over their space and over their room. They can immediately tell any energies to leave the room. Leave the room. And I think, Holly, if you can email me at contact@lorieladd.com, I'm going to send you a meditation that I did. I'll send you a couple things. I think I did a meditation that provided the kids how to go to sleep safely. I feel like I also did something around how to create sovereignty, like how to teach them how to say no, go away, sovereignty, right? But when she goes to bed at night, Holly, you guys can sit there and you can create a prayer, right? And the prayer is basically that she is safe in her room, that there are angels all around her, that there are angels in her room, that she is safe to close her eyes, that no spirits, no monsters, nothing is going to come into her space or into her field. Really calling in the angels, because that makes children feel very, very safe. And that anytime she wakes up and feels unsafe, she demands that the energy goes away. She demands that the monster goes away. We have to teach our children sovereignty, that they are in control of their energetic world. They are in control of their energetic field. And regardless of what it may or may not be, she has the ability to say, get out now, leave my room now. So teach her that, leave my room now. You are not invited to my room. And that will give her power. That will give her sovereignty. Yes, I will post the video. I will post the meditation. Give me a little while to find it. I'm just making a note so I don't forget. I'll post it up on Patreon. Yeah, I would do a prayer, you guys, at night. If you have children that are afraid of sleep, do a prayer, call in the angels, remind them that they are safe, remind them that the moment they wake up and feel any weird energies, that they immediately demand that energy leave the room, whether they say it out loud or to themselves. Have them call in their angels. Their angels the children have so many angels around them, right? Every night do that until they are understanding how to navigate this energetic world. Do it every single night. Okay. And then that's what I would recommend. All right, you guys, I love you so much. Be gentle with yourself. Welcome to we navigated the first month of 2022. I think we did a fabulous job. Oh my goodness gracious, I went through a lot. Holy heck, did I go through a lot. I think we all went through a lot, and maybe not. Maybe there's some of us that went through absolutely nothing, which is also such a gift. That's also a gift. So most spirits are not looking for trouble. It's just that children don't understand what the spirits are doing in their room. So most spirits are not monsters. They're not negative. They're not dark. It's just that children don't understand that. So instead of trying to explain that to them, just give them sovereignty and tell them to demand that the energies leave the room. It's a lot easier. So anyway, love you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday, February 2nd at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for our mini session. The mini session post, I believe, will go up later today or tomorrow, and you enter your name in the comment section. I love you. Thanks for Patricia for being here. My first month of being on my own in my camper van with my dog after my divorce. Way to go. Way to go, Patricia. All right. Love you guys. Be gentle with yourself and all the other humans out there. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Lots of love.